Welcome to the Soul Ties Podcast with love and life coach Dill Lawrence, helping you detox from toxic relationships.
What's up, everybody? Once again, we are back, the Soul Ties Podcast. Listen, I am super excited for my guest this evening. Oh, I could say so many things about this woman of God, but I'm just going to sum it all down to a kingdom boss lady. You like that? You like that, sis?
It has a nice ring to it. I'm feeling it.
That's what I'm saying. Because you do so much, and everything that comes to your mind, you do. So we just going to have to call you straight up Kingdom Boss Lady Crystal Jones. What's happening, sis?
Yes, I'm doing good. I'm so happy to be here.
Man, listen, I'm so happy that you are here. We are here to discuss actually two books. You just on fire right now, man. I mean, because the first book that you wrote that we're going to get into was Yours on Your Own, but the second book you wrote with your husband, correct?
Yes, I went in, I talked to him, I got a lot of input. We had a lot of discussions to create this second book. Yes.
Okay, well, we're going to go in order. We're going to go in order with your first book, then we're going to end up on your second book, and I want you to tell all my listeners where to go and get it. But before we get into it, please let those people know out there who you are and what all you do.
Yes, so my name is Crystal Jones. To say what all I do, that could be an extensive list, but I would say definitely one of the primary things that I love to do is I love to help people meet and marry the person that God has for them. I love to help people understand how to have kingdom-based relationships in a real way. I'm, not one of those people that's too spiritually minded to be earthly good. So I keep it real 100%. I think that's why we click.
Yep.
But I'm passionate about helping people, helping women to be able to understand navigating relationships.
That is so dope because the Soul Ties audience is 80% women, 20% men. So I definitely like to have on more guests that cater to women from a woman's point of view instead of them always hearing a male point of view, right? So, so interesting enough, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all have it because I just love the shock value of your first book. But what made you get into authorship? What made you want to even write a book? Have you always been a writer? Have you always desired to write a book? Or
Yes, I would say I've definitely always been a writer. I've always been very passionate about writing. Even from when I was in high school, middle school, I write. That's what I do. It's how I communicate my thoughts. And I realized that I can reach more people if I just write the book. Because then, they're able to sell. I can sell it and they can go pick it up. And so it was also a way for me to just really be intentional about reaching more people.
Yeah. I love it. So which leads to the first book, Christians Deserve Orgasms too. Oh,
yes.
I love it. I just love this title. I love this book. First of all, what made you write that book? Christians Deserve Orgasms too? What?
So the first thing that made me write this book is the fact that it's true. That is the very first thing.
I love it.
And I would say another thing that provides, I'll say, shock value is the fact that this is not a book just for married couples.
Right.
And people seem to think that. But one of the things that I realized is a lot of women would be getting married and they would start asking me questions, inviting me to bachelorette parties to teach them things concerning how to have intimacy. Or I would speak to women who were already married and maybe were not experiencing fulfillment in intimacy, and they didn't know how to communicate with their husband about what their needs were. or, like I said, single women, I believe in preparing them to know how to do what they need to do when the time comes, because ultimately you wouldn't tell a doctor to learn to do surgery during their first surgery.
Right.
They need
Right.
to know these things beforehand.
Right.
So I said, we need to stop telling people you need to wait to learn things. You'll figure it out in the bedroom. No, you might not figure that out at all. It could take a very long time and some very unsatisfied nights if nobody's teaching anybody anything. And I said, it's time that Christians became a part of the conversation, because then we can make sure it's not becoming skewed or, getting some of those sick, twisted things involved in it. But we need to be a part of a healthy conversation that teaches people how to navigate intimacy.
Man, that is so good. Now, did you get any flack from church people or anybody about you writing this book? Because of course, your father is my father, my spiritual father, the late Pastor Greg Poe, the late great Pastor Greg Poe. Put some respect on that man's name, please. And so, listen. So, for who you are, did you get any pushback?
I don't know why you think I would get pushed back.
No, I don't think that, but maybe my listeners probably think, wow, her writing a book like that. Did anybody have an issue with that?
Of course, lots of people had an issue with it.
Wow.
And I would say, especially when I was intentional about saying, this is not just for married people. It is for single people as well. They didn't understand it. But what I will say is, everyone that actually went and purchased the book, they understood after they read it why it was not just for married people. And then, of course, you have people that are super traditional that are just like, why would you say the word sex and associate with Christianity? Because Christians have sex. That's why.
Right. Right.
And so I definitely did catch some flack, but I'm like my daddy, so I'm tough on the chin. I said what I said, and I'm not taking it back.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, I want to talk about one of my favorite chapters in the book. It's the conversations about sex. And I'm big, and you really focus in that chapter on communication. Can you just walk my audience through, because I really want them to get this book. I love the book, but I want you to walk them through why was it so important, or why is communication so important, and walk them through some of the different modes of communication you talked about in chapter 6.
So one of the reasons that I felt like communication is so important is because, again, there's so many things that are being left unsaid. And a lot of times when people fail to communicate, they fail to have desires met. And as a result, people end up cheating. That's literally, it's a domino effect.
Wow.
And we don't want to admit that as Christians, but unfortunately, I've seen that happen with people where they didn't know how to say, I don't like what you're doing. I don't, you're not doing things that I need. Or again, even looking at the person that's not married yet, them knowing how to communicate what it is that they like, that they want, without making people feel badly. Because that's a thing too.
Right.
People talk about the male ego, but women have a little ego too. It's important to not damage or bruise your partner.
Oh, that's good.
Even when you're being honest and clear about what your expectations are, what your needs are, things that you may not like that all has to be a part of a conversation, especially when you're looking at a long-term marital relationship. I'm not living forever not liking what's happening. And
man, that's so good.
We have to get past the days where we're thinking, women are just, or even a man, this is what you signed up for, so you just have to take it, or you have to live with not being completely satisfied, when your spouse is there because they want to make you happy. They want to bring you satisfaction. And if you can just tell them what you want or what you need, they probably would be very happy to do it. And so we have to stop saying, no, let's not talk about it.
Man, that is so good. That is so good. Now, which leads me to your second book. Let the people know what's the name of the second book.
So the second book is Married in Months, How to Meet and Marry the One Sooner.
Wow. Now we was on Instagram and we did the story on this where we interviewed uh, uh, your husband and also you talked about it at our seminar. But let everybody know just a brief your story when it comes to your now husband.
Yes. So my husband and I met, got engaged, and married in 9 months. I went from being a single woman thinking I'm getting older, there's probably not anybody out here for me, to meeting my husband. And literally 2 weeks after we met, he was like, I am going to marry you. 3 months later, we were engaged. And 6 months after that, we were saying, I do.
Wow, married in months. So walk me through the book. What are people going to learn about this book? Are you talking about how to actually get married? Are you talking about time limit, time wise? And here's a question I want to ask you: how long should someone wait to get married?
So I would say one, I address all of that in the book.
Great,
And
great, great.
I, one of the things that I start with is because my husband and I, we are about to celebrate 9 years of marriage in June. And so I say we met, got engaged, and married in 9 months, but it's also working. Like
Right.
we will be happily married for 9 years in June. And I know people say, well, Crystal, that was 9 years ago. It's different out here now. It's wild. No, this is the thing. One of the things I addressed from the beginning. Do people change and situations change? Yes. But that does not mean that what I'm saying does not work. And that's because even just last year, there was a woman who emailed me and she's like, girl, it's nobody out here. I want to be married, but I don't even see no prospects. From the day she emailed me, 8 months later, she was engaged. And 4 months later, she was married. And that was just this past year.
Wow.
So I say that to say, I don't care how much people are saying things have changed. It still works. The things that I am saying do work. Another young lady, she was married 6 months after she emailed me and we spoke. And so it's like these things do work. And again, that was just last year. So this works, you know. And in the book, I'm talking about one, positioning yourself. That's positioning yourself physically, because I always say your spouse is physically located somewhere. I met my husband 2 weeks after I moved to a new city.
Mm.
I had to physically be where he was. And so sometimes people think, oh, I'm not meeting somebody. Well, God been trying to get you to shop at a different grocery store for the past 2 months. You don't
Right.
know that's where your future husband be shopping for his groceries. And you're
Wow.
gonna run into him.
Mm.
Your spouse is physically located somewhere.
Somewhere.
And
Mm.
so that's one of the things that I talk about, physically positioning yourself, making sure you're in alignment. Sometimes that comes down to you've been too afraid to apply for the promotion at work, thinking you don't have what it takes, not knowing your future husband is going to be sitting at the boardroom of one of those tables. But
Mm.
because of insecurities you're dealing with, thinking you're not right for a position or, for a certain space or certain rooms, you're not properly positioned to meet this person that is physically located somewhere. So, one of the things I talk about is positioning. And then in that, that's the first thing I talk about. And then from there, I delve into how to really reposition yourself in the dating world. Because, like I said, sometimes it's your insecurities that have you in the wrong place. Sometimes it's who you're choosing to entertain that have you in the wrong place. There could be a list of things that have you out of position to meet the one that you should be marrying. And so those are some of the things I really delve into in the book.
Do you cover arguments? How to deal with? Do you guys argue?
So Ricky and I, we honestly don't be arguing. We get along very well. And a lot of that has to do with the type of people that we are. But I will say I do touch on like conflict resolution in the book. And
Good,
so
good, good,
one
good.
of the things that I say even specifically has to do with a lot of times people want to date multiple people at once. One of the biggest shifts that I made when I met my husband was I'm only going to date him. And if it does not work, then I will date someone else. Because people don't realize when they're dating multiple people at one time, when somebody gets on your nerves, you're not encouraged to actually try to work it out. You'll just give them the silent treatment for 3 days and talk to the other person. But you need to know how to have conflict resolution in a marriage. And talking to one person forces you to say, you know what, let me see if we can work this out. Let me see how to navigate this. So then it teaches you how to use skill sets you will need for your healthy marriage. Because we're not just throwing together marriages. It will teach you skill sets that you will need for a healthy marriage when you're only dating one person. So again, I go into that extensively in the book as well. Wow. I talk about conflict resolution. I talk about how to develop expectations for what it means to you to be a wife, because that's the thing too. People like, oh, I want to be a wife. You need to make sure somebody's not just looking for a dishwasher, or somebody do their laundry. Like, what does that look like to you? But there are women that are like, I just want to do my husband's laundry. I just want to wash his dishes. I just want to, fold his clothes. But make sure also then you're marrying somebody that wants that, not someone that does not like, no, you need to be out hitting the streets grinding like me. So even talking about those types of expectations and things like that, I go into all of that.
Oh man, that's so good. Oh, I'm flying down there to get my book just like I did in person because I wanted autographed. But to my listeners all over the world, how can they get both these books? Married in Months and Christians Deserve Orgasms Too.
Yeah, so I would say the easiest way is to go on Amazon. They could type in the title to either book and it's going to pop right up. My name is Crystal Jones, so they'll know that's the book. They will know that is me.
And by the way, Crystal is spelled Chrystle. Make sure you get her name right. Crystal Jones. That's Chrystle. Boom.
Yes.
Well, Crystal, you're moving to Africa.
I am. We are.
Wow, that's amazing. Please tell everybody before you go what made you move to Africa and what can we expect from Crystal in Africa. Is it going to be any more books? Are you going to be what are you doing down there? What's going on?
Yes. So we are moving to Africa because I came home and my husband said, God said that we should move to Africa. And I said, okay, let's say less.
Wow.
And so we went out, we visited. God confirmed to both of us what it is that we would be doing. And, the fact that this is truly the path that he has for us. And so we just started making strides for that. We are moving to Johannesburg, South Africa specifically. So we are really excited about that. And there will definitely be more books. I'm already in the chamber working on some things, more details to come with that.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah. Yes.
You just cranking them out, sis. You cranking these books out, man. I love it.
I love writing. So we're definitely going to be doing some more books. You're going to see more interviews and content coming from Ricky and myself just concerning how we, operate in our marriage. You asked earlier, do we have a lot of arguments? No, we do not. I always say, people say, marriage is hard. It's not hard. It requires effort, just like lifting a fork to your mouth when you're hungry requires effort. But marriage does not have to be hard. And I feel like God has really given us a ministry to be able to share with others how to live a life in marriage, in singleness, in general, that brings fulfillment, joy, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. So people will be able to see a lot of that.
Awesome. Let everybody know where they can follow you. Give them your social media handles.
Yes. So my social media handle is Eat Travel Love Jones. And we have a family YouTube page, Don't Keep Up with the Joneses.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my sister, my beloved sister, Crystal Jones. Crystal, I want to say I am so proud of you, so proud of you,
Thank
Ricky,
you.
and the family, everything that you're doing. And I know that this next move is just greater. It's coming later, and I just cannot wait to witness it.
Yay! Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man. Yes, get those books, y'all. Christians Deserve Orgasms too, and Married in Months. Like I said, I'm personally flying because I want the physical copy. I like to have it in my hand. Are any audiobooks coming, Crystal?
I don't have any audiobooks at this time. I am a
We need to
writer
get
to
them.
my
We need to get them.
core.
Yeah. But we need to get them. I mean, people listen different ways. They listen
They
in the
do.
gym and stuff like that. I hear people all the time talking about, even with me, when are you doing an audio book? Look, I'm working on I'm going to do it because too many people have been asking me. But definitely we're going to get in this audio book game, definitely, because we want to make sure our message goes out in every vehicle it can. To get
You're
to
right.
everybody it can. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
awesome.
No, it's so true.
Awesome. Well, I'll be in Tampa to get my book signed. Y'all better get yours too. Go to Amazon and get those books from my sister, Crystal Jones. And this will not be the last time you hear from her. She will be on here again. But until next time, y'all, peace and love for life. And I'll see you again on the next episode of Soul Ties.
Thank you for listening. We would like to bless you with the Soul Ties Stimulus Package, which includes the Detox ebook, message, and exclusive podcast episode. Text Soul Ties, SOULTIES, to 888-756-8681.